All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I am Is There No One Else? And in today's video, we're going to talk about this upcoming live stream for Ashes of Creation that is happening this Friday. Now, a lot of you guys know that this month's live stream was supposed to be about the node system, which is arguably, well, probably not arguably, but it is the biggest and most unique system in MMOs. And essentially, it's kind of a big deal. But Intrepid threw us a change up and they gave us a little switcheroo, and it's not ready yet. And so they decided that instead of revealing a product that is incomplete to their standard, they are going to do a Cleric reveal, more in depth. Now, they did kind of do one about 7 months ago during the lighting reveal where they showed nighttime and daytime in Vera. We saw the Cleric in a little bit of action, but it's never gotten its full reveal. Now, this has created some cause for a discussion on the forums about how Intrepid may be further behind than people thought. You know, typical drama of people just being excited about a game and an adjustment comes in and they're unprepared for it. But I am here to try to tell you guys that I don't have to try to tell you guys. This, to me, like watching the archetype reveals, is as exciting for me as the node reveal. So for me, switching from one to the other doesn't really matter because I'm excited about both. And I know that's not for everybody, but as a PvP player, as a player that enjoys combat in games, I want to see how the classes function. I want to see like what they're going to provide in their class kit and how they're going to look and feel. And that's what this video is. I'm going to try and tell you guys what I am excited about for this reveal coming up on Friday, what I hope to see from Intrepid and from the Cleric class itself, and all that good stuff. So, since we got our very short 2 minute introduction out of the way, let's dive into it. First things first, there are a lot of reasons why I think they went back and redid the Cleric. Number one, the first one, like I said, it only covered 6 different skills and abilities. Like Steven said on Discord, that's not all inclusive to what the Cleric is. It didn't get its own reveal. And so we only got like a sneak preview there. And so just like the mage, just like the tank, they're going to go through in more detail of all the skills and abilities. And they're going to show us what the class is and what the class does. And it makes a lot of sense to do this one. In my opinion, for a lot of different reasons. The first reason is I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off, and I just want you guys to hear me out on this before anybody gets upset. But a lot of MMOs are plagued with developers who lazily slapstick buffs on support classes to compensate for harder content. I don't mean this. I'm not saying that it applies to everybody or your favorite game, although it might. Often what happens, or what I've seen what happens in the games that I play, is they have an idea for, like, they come out with new content, right? And the more difficult content, they have a hope that 25% of the player base can complete it. Well, their numbers come back and 10 to 15% can complete it, or maybe 5% or whatever. It's way below normal. And so they want people playing their new content, because if people can't complete their new content, why would they buy the next new content, right? And so instead of going in and individually tweaking different dungeon mechanics and stuff, things that are actually causing the problem, they slapstick buffs onto classes, namely support classes. So they will either buff healing, or they will provide sets that give more healing, or they'll provide a set that gives a buff that is very specific to that specific dungeon or trial or hard mode boss, whatever. They'll do things that specifically cater to the fact that it's too hard. And oftentimes what happens is you'll see tanks and healers either get buffed with healing, get buffed with mitigation, block cost mitigation, things like that. Now, in a PvE environment, this isn't a big deal. Everybody's on the same playing field. These classes get the same types of buffs. You're fighting NPCs. You're not fighting other people. What happens in these types of games, though, is in the PvP environment, these buffs cross over. And so you will often have issues with overhealing. I've seen this happen in New World. I've seen this happen in the Elder Scrolls Online, where support classes, it's okay. Like, somebody has to be the strongest at any point in time. That's fine. But healing metas in a PvP environment basically means that nobody dies. If you make a healer too strong in a PvP environment, they provide too much healing to where nobody dies. And that is a problem in a PvP environment. We're not playing, stand and look at your enemies and get bored and walk away. We want to play where we have winners and we have losers. And so doing the Cleric and discussing the Cleric is going to be important. This might be the most important archetype discussion, at least from an all-encompassing perspective. Like, all classes can be impacted, but the fact that the Cleric can support other classes and help keep other classes alive, their strengths and their utility will have to be closely measured and evaluated to make sure that we don't have needlessly high time to kill rates. And so we're not going to see that during this, but it'll be fun to see what else they provide and like what kind of off heals they provide, how difficult it is to do these things. That's the first thing. And I'm not saying that Intrepid is going to get this wrong. I'm just saying that this has been something that I've noticed on other games, and I hope that Intrepid does get this right. I want the class, the players that play the class well, get rewarded for playing it well. Also, and I could have led with this first, but we all want meaningful interactions in a game. Most of us do. We want to be able to feel rewarded when we're fighting a boss that's difficult to beat, that we work together with our team to beat them. We don't want to play a game where we lazily run through, not keeping our buffs up, barely doing anything, and everything dies and we move on with our day. There's nothing rewarding about that type of monotony. Like, if I want to do that, I could just go play Farmville and I could just farm crops and harvest them. I won't die in this game. I can't die. And the last thing that could happen is I take a freaking nap and my crops, rot. And so that would be a huge problem, but I got a timer on my phone. And so I don't really have to deal with those things. MMOs shouldn't be like Farmville. MMOs shouldn't be like the easiest freaking game in the world, in my opinion. And this is not the way Ashes wants to build itself. And so making sure that this class isn't too overtuned, just like any other class, is going to be important to have those meaningful interactions in a PvP and a PvE environment. And so, yeah, I'm also excited for that reason to see what this class is capable of. Also, we saw the reveal 6-7 months ago where they went through the Cleric and they provided us a little snippet, a little morsel, talking about how the Cleric has a new stat or a new resource, and it's called Conviction. And what Conviction is if you activate Cleric skills and abilities and you meet certain requirements by buffing in an ally at a certain point in time, healing a certain healing a certain ally at certain health, whatever the requirement for each individual skill is, if you do it at that time, you are rewarded with a Conviction resource. And so what this Conviction does is some healing skills will provide damage to enemies instead. Some healing skills will heal for more. The cleansing skill that they showed actually bounces to more people with the higher amount of Conviction stacked. And so what I really like about this, and this is the thing I'm most excited about with the Cleric, is to get more details about this. I want to see the skills and abilities. I want to see how we can amplify and work together with groups, because it is more of a group-based PvX game, and so watching interactions is going to be valuable. But they're not only are they trying to allow this synergy among groups to separate skill level, they also have this Conviction stat that what it does is it will potentially separate really good clerics from mediocre clerics from bad clerics. The better you are at activating buffs and predicting combat and knowing when to apply certain things, the more Conviction you will stack, which means the more powerful your heals will be, the more cleanses you will have for your group, these sorts of things. And so I like a powerful support class. I think it's fun. Like when your class feels powerful and it's effective when played well, that is the most satisfying experience you can have in an MMO environment. And so I'm really excited to see how much further down this rabbit hole they go. And so we already got teased last month in general with what they're doing with Artisan crafts and how like in depth there's going to be mini games for blacksmithing and stuff. We saw a fantastic mage presentation 2 months ago going in depth on the different skills and abilities. And this is just another step down the road where we get to see how this class is going to function and how it's going to have its own dynamic way of being powerful. And that's what I want to see. I want to see classes be powerful in their own way. Ashes of Creation is touting 64 classes. We could have 64 classes in this game. What good is 64 classes if one or two are clearly head and shoulders above every other one? There's no point. And so that's what I advocate for on my channel. I advocate for each class, each thing trying to have its own uniqueness to where, yeah, there will be some things that are 1% to 2% better. There will be. That's just naturally the way MMOs go. And people will flock to, the flavor of the month, and that's fine. However, as long as things are relatively competitive, people will stay with what they enjoy more as long as it's competitive. And so we won't know these things obviously until after Alpha 2 and Beta and stuff like that, and we actually figure out numbers and those sorts of things. But at least we get to start to see combat fleshing itself out. I had a really good conversation with Nice Gaming yesterday. I posted the podcast today, and you guys can feel free to go check it out. But we talked, and one of the questions that was brought up is should we see combat soon? And I would contend that seeing each one of these archetype reveals is actually starting to see combat fleshed out. Now, obviously, we don't see the defensive mechanics. We're not going to see the armor buffs. We're not going to see mitigation, stuff like that. But how classes will interact with each other through group-based buffs, through different synergies, through what they provide as a group, through burst mechanics, these sorts of things, is shaping up to be what the combat is going to be. And so, yeah, if I didn't get you excited for the Cleric reveal on Friday, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I failed you. But it's actually, I think it is really exciting. It's really exciting to see where all these different archetypes are going to be. Now, obviously, I have played Templar. I have played a healer. I don't know what I'm going to play in Ashes. I'm not sure yet. I do know typically I personally err towards the side of the rogue. And so when they do the full rogue reveal, I will be more excited than for the Cleric, but seeing everything is great. And on Elder Scrolls Online, I played everything. I played Templar, I played Sorc, I played all these classes, and so I might play Cleric. We'll see how it looks. And so, yeah, those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts for Friday. I am still debating whether or not I'm going to do a live stream discussing it as it happens in real time. I have COVID right now, and I am recovering, and so I don't have much else to do. So maybe I'll do a podcast or a live stream. If you guys want to see that, let me know. Also, let me know in the comment section what you think about the Friday reveal. Are you a little disappointed about the nodes? Are you too upset that you can't get hyped for a Cleric reveal? Are you excited? Are you... this is a mid presentation. We just got fucking freeholds last month, and now we have to wait another month for nodes. This is BS. Where do you stand? Let me know. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.